Really? Seriously?
Well, it says we're live.
It lies. All right, let's see here. We have guests. We have a full house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, no grinding on camera.
If you'd like to keep us supplied in scuba gear, donate here because it ain't raining out there.
Yeah.
If you like coffee, and speaking of, our coffee anthology just opened. So if you want to write for the coffee anthology, pick a coffee. You can't have geisha. Jim already called dibs on that.
There's a new one. There's a new coffee.
There is.
I can't read it.
Oh, apparently I'm not.
There's my phone telling me that the live screen is starting. New coffee. It's a brain coffee.
From King Harv sent us that. Oh, Nancy Fry, Tom.
He's hiding in the wings.
Yeah. And I'm off on the other side.
Jim's in the other wings.
And we have folks in the peanut gallery. So it's an interesting day today.
We have pretty much the entire country with us today. We have
East to west.
east to west,
West to
yeah.
east.
Oregon,
Washington State.
Washington, North Carolina,
Yeah.
and
We're-
Texas.
We're a nationwide podcast.
They've taken my coffee grinder away.
For reasons.
The fidget device du jour.
So
Yeah.
big news today. Dagnabbit, there we go.
He's
Squirrel,
getting there.
squirrel, glow stick. Fuck. Is we are opening the coffee thing. Y'all be sure to send us stories.
Yeah.
Who's North Carolina?
Tom
Tom.
Beatty.
Yep.
Tom
Me.
is
Tom. He's been here before. Y'all know him. He's been here before.
About
'Cause
once a year.
About once a year.
That's right.
And I'm somewhat upset with him today because he just got back from Tacon, which I haven't been able to go to the last several years. It really annoyed me.
Nabbit.
It's up to you.
It wasn't.
Anybody.
It wasn't.
For those of you who don't know what TACCON is, it's fun with pew pews
Yeah.
Well, it's
and more.
TacCon is a large number of really high-end self-defense instructors get together at the Dallas Pistol Club for a weekend. And it's shooting and wrestling and seminars.
That's right.
And more shooting.
And we see Tom this time every year because he keeps going to it.
Yeah, it's about 35 instructors or so and about 350 to 400 people.
Yep.
And it sounds like a lot, but the people that run it, Ms. Tiffany and Mr. Akil, do a terrific job of doing the organizing and structuring it.
Yeah.
And when you have 35 instructors there and they're all running classes all the time, you don't have real big classes.
That's nice.
Best day.
Coffee anthology.
Coffee anthology?
Oh, Padre. Lovecraftian, really?
Okay. We'll take Lovecraftian.
Lovecraftian coffee story?
Yeah.
We'll take
I
it.
think that works.
Did you get your contract?
Jonna's printing it out. Yes, I'm very tickled because I got my story into the next Space Cowboys anthology, and Jonna sent out contracts early. I was just randomly checking my email Friday night. And was like, ah! So and I said, "Oh, thank you," and you got to get back to him. So I got back to her right away, and she said, "Well, you want to do the PDF and send it, or you want to sign in person on Tuesdays?" I'm signing in person, of course.
I have
I
pins,
want a fountain pen and a powdered wig, and yeah, okay, all right, we'll skip the wig.
And I love Rick's comment. Make it too strong and you resurrect the old one. Makes perfect sense.
Speaking of that, I would like to point out that the half-life of caffeine for most people is between 2 and 9 hours.
Says who?
That's why I stopped drinking caffeinated beverages by noon, so I can get
So-
to bed at a reasonable hour.
If you have killed a considerable number of Excedrin migraines, which have caffeine to make the aspirin work better, and 3 Red Bulls, and you're having a panic attack, there's a good reason for that.
Yeah.
Are you speaking from experience or?
Oh. My LD50 is my LD50 for caffeine is considerably higher than somebody else's.
Yeah, I'm a lightweight. If I drank a Coke or a Pepsi like that, I'd
I
be
drink
jittery.
coffee to go to bed at night.
So you're like a toddler. People
Well,
say,
I've cut down. I used to drink probably 30 cups a day.
"Oh, well, you were in the Navy."
Yeah.
That's not an excuse.
We on our crew of 12, we had a 50 cup pot.
Mhm.
We would normally go through 2 of those
Oh, wow.
in one flight.
When I was a Sea Scout, we did a tour of the Nimitz one day in Bremerton.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. And the thing I remember most of all from wandering around in the Nimitz, especially up in the bridge area, was there's a Bun-O-Matic in every compartment.
Yeah.
Even if it's just on the other side of the bulkhead, there's another Bun-O-Matic. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we just have the one on our boat.
I would like to also point out the lethal dose, the LD50 for caffeine is 150 milligrams per kilogram. That's a number people should keep in mind.
So
People in the live stream right now should keep that in mind.
oh yes.
You think
Research.
that's bad? Australian submarines. They have, rather than coffee service, they have tea services
Oh, okay.
in every friggin' compartment on the boat.
I thought you were gonna say a jar of Marmite, but
Yeah, they got that too.
thought
Those
you were
people ain't
Vegemite.
right.
I thought you were going to say beer.
Now that's usually in the bilge where it's kind of cold.
oh, there you go. Here's your 4X. Ugh.
No, they don't do Forex. They do
Oh.
Victoria Bitter.
Oh, okay.
That's considered the Navy beer in Australia.
That works.
4X is chewy. About like 6X is over in England.
Oh,
Fix this. Say, are you straining it through a coffee filter before you drink it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Australia since '84. I turned 21 in Australia.
Yeah. That must have been a hell of a party.
It was fun.
What little you remember of it, right?
Well, I had a cold at the time, so we waited a week. We were up on the Gold Coast somewhere. We went to a nightclub, which was loud, and I wasn't really into loud. I just wanted to go to the beach, but it was
Beach.
fun. I was a kid and I was having fun.
Yeah,
Beach.
Foster's is definitely a tourist beer. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Swan is good. Yes.
So the lethal dose, 50% of the population, is 150 milligrams per kilogram. Somebody should keep that in mind, young lady.
And Differs goes 3 packs of Jolt gum, 25 coffees, and 3
Ooh.
energy drinks. That's so she can sleep at night. Well, you did have kids. You do have kids, so that is an issue.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person I know who doesn't do caffeine to get rid of a headache because it will give me a headache. It will
Yeah.
trigger a migraine for me. So
I don't drink caffeine to be a headache, to get rid of a headache. I drink caffeine so I'm not a headache.
Yeah.
Caffeine keeps people unstimulated. Caffeine.
I have things that I have brought from
Uh-oh.
Fort Woodbooger for you guys, and they're in my pockets. Okay, first thing I brought, because you need more seasoning in your life, is this Cajun seasoning. This guy, it's Dempster McGee. This is Dempster McGee. He is the social media manager now for Wargate Books. And before he did that, I just knew him through some other people I followed on the Twitters or whatever they call it these days. He's just a character. He works in oil patch. He's an offshore guy. And he
Is he a veteran?
hoot. No, he is not. Has been oil all his life.
Really?
He manages a platform now. He's a EMT medic type guy, which has been hard on the soul for him working out where he works. But this seasoning is it. It's really, really good, and it's fun
It's
to
pretty
add on
standard
stuff.
Cajun seasoning.
It's
I'm
just the
impressed.
standard Cajun seasoning.
I'm impressed.
But a lot of what passes for Cajun seasoning is
Isn't.
not.
It is not.
Yeah.
They put stuff in that doesn't belong.
Yeah.
in there.
The thing about Cajun seasoning, look at the ingredient list. If it's got white pepper in it, it's good Cajun seasoning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I prefer Tony Sherry.
Well, yes, but
But
if you
you
look,
were authentic. Uh-oh, we lost Ian.
we have not lost Ian. Ian's going to look for 20 shows.
Uh-oh. He's going to the stash. Oh, look at that. He's got can of.
Tony Sherry's.
Yeah.
It does not have white pepper in it.
No,
I'm shocked. Still good stuff.
that is a very old seasoning blend.
Oh yeah. Tony.
It says Creole on it.
Yeah,
Well,
it's Creole rather than Cajun because when
no,
he
that's why there's
started
no
that,
white. That's why there's no white pepper.
yeah, when he started that, Cajun wasn't really a thing.
Oh, okay. Nobody knew what that was.
Nobody knew what it was.
Nobody outside of Louisiana.
Yeah. And I actually have a Tony Sherry cookbook.
Oh, did he have restaurants, or was he just a
not really?
personality?
The thing about Tony Sherry's, I switched over to Tony Sherry's back when I started having cardiac issues, briefly. And the great thing about this is it's the primary ingredient is salt,
Oh,
but it's also got red pepper, black pepper, and chili powder.
Yeah.
So if it was so hot it burned your mouth, there's too much salt in it.
Yeah.
So it made me limit my salt
Oh.
intake.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. And then you guys like to talk about Vienna sausages. So I got you a can of. I've had this for years because I was going to give it to Taylor Anderson, but I never see him.
Yeah.
It's if you've read the Destroyer Men series, they talk about scum weenies a lot. So here's your can of scum weenies. These are not scum weenies. These are scum weenie erasers. They're shaped like Vienna sausages, but they're erasers.
Oh,
Isn't that weird? I can't even remember where I found that. It was so long ago.
only you, Nancy.
So you get the scum weenie erasers.
Oh, God.
I just thought those were funny. And then it was when we were traveling around and doing movies and doing stuff, and we'd run into Taylor every once in a while, and then everything just died. So
Contents of this can, and I quote: style, something like wieners. Size, short and stubby. Quantity, 6 weenie genies. Fun factor, 27 on a sliding scale.
well, that's a label. And then I know I already sent you guys morale patches, but I got these from the place I like to order my surplus and
If I
military
remember right,
supplies from.
Nancy's the one that sent these to us.
Yeah. Well, you had those little tiny business cards,
Which
and I could
worked just
never
fine.
see what they said.
It worked just fine.
So I sent you big ones. Anyway, Varustelica, they're doing ads on YouTube these days, and they're in Finland and they do surplus, and they also have their own line of tactical stuff. But they have really cute morale patches, and so this fox,
mine.
yeah, duh.
Mine.
And then the wise owl who flies, that goes to Mr. Jim right
Oh, thank
here.
you.
So everybody needs more morale patches. Yeah, isn't that cute?
I like it. I like it.
And then my chickens are laying, so you guys get each a jar of pickled eggs. Did I say something
I
wrong?
don't like you anymore.
Jim gets a jar of pickled eggs. Just put them on their side in the fridge and rotate it every day,
Yeah.
and they'll be done in a couple of weeks. You're not a pickled egg fan? Oh, you can have the other 2 jars. Well, that means Jonna gets one, and Cedar can have the other one. Oh, that's too funny. Pickled eggs for everybody except Ian.
Pickled eggs make great trash pan
Ian-
of food.
Ian gets scum weenies.
I'll take the scum weenie. I can pickled eggs.
I think that was it for my goodie bag. I've got a T-shirt that you probably like.
I do.
Ian gets the scum weenies. So yeah,
That sounds so bad.
it's just if you haven't read Taylor Anderson's Destroyer Men series, I recommend it. Cross Time Shipwreck starts in World War II, ends up in a different Earth
Yep.
where the dinosaurs still rule the land and crazy stuff's going on.
I need
and-
to read this guy.
Yeah, it's they're on a 4-stacker, the USS Walker. I can't what ship? What kind of ship is it? I can't remember.
It's a DD.
It's a destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and great cast of characters, lots of fun.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some Japanese get sucked through too, so they got to deal with that. And yeah,
There are a number of battles.
yes.
So, in the comments from Wally, Spurlements letting Vienna sausages feel good about themselves.
I didn't bring any Spurgelmints. I can't find them anywhere.
When did you set for that portrait, Ian?
Which portrait?
For the patch.
Oh,
this-
yeah, it's a
I
candid.
forget. They took a picture of me somewhere.
Rita got a candid of him.
Oh, he's even grouchy.
Oh, he is kind of grumpy, isn't he?
I like it. It's a grumpy fox.
Yeah. And for all you people who haven't made it onto covers yet, I'm wearing my Team and More badge here. So solidarity, Team and More.
I haven't picked who's going to be on the cover yet. Why haven't you sent me a story?
I don't have stories.
Everyone has stories.
Yet.
Well, what kind of stories would you like?
Something I can print in an anthology.
Well, I don't have any of those. Mine are mostly unprintable or unattributable.
Yeah.
That's another anthology.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Now it can be told.
How much can I scrub the serial numbers off of this?
Well, there you go.
That's the sad part about some of the good stories is you can't scrub them that far.
No. I remember telling my, I think it was the wedding story
Yeah.
when one of my guys was getting married, and having somebody prior military on the panel leaning down and going, "That was you," almost threw me off my stride.
Well, the other thing is all of us are gunnies.
Yes.
So, Tom, would you tell us about Tacon and
Yeah.
what you were doing down there?
Well, I think Nancy and Ian gave a pretty decent summary, but it's held every year in March, April timeframe. It moved around the country a little bit for a while, but it seems to have found a nice home for at least the next 5 years at the Dallas Pistol Club. It'll be at the end of March this coming year in 2025. The thing has been going on for I don't know how many years, because it originally started as something called the Polite Society Conference,
Good Lord, it's
which
been
was
going
held
for
up
a while.
in Memphis,
It was in
Tennessee.
Memphis.
An armed
that was-
society is a polite
Exactly.
society.
Some people don't get that reference.
Yeah.
But it was at the range that was run by Tom Givens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the Range Master Firearms Training Services, I guess is what it's called now.
Yeah.
And he's one of the preeminent firearms trainers for practical firearms training.
Mhm.
And he's been concentrating a lot the last several years on instructor development.
Hmm.
Because he says people like himself and Mas Ayub and John Farnham and Clint Smith and people like that are just getting old.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And so he's trying to grow the next crop.
Hmm.
And the conference is not designed necessarily as instructor development only. It's really for any firearm. If you got just a little bit more than knowing which end of the barrel the bullet comes out of, you can get something out of that conference. They are parallel blocks of instruction in both the classrooms. They usually have, let me think, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 classroom sessions, a session that they call the hands-on bay, which is sort of like jujitsu and knives and things like that.
Craig Douglas.
Craig Douglas, Cecil Birch, people like in that venue. And then they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 live fire bays that they use. And so they're usually either 2 to 4 hour live fire blocks. They're not intended to be full classes, but they are intended to give people enough information about what that instructor does to give them an idea as to whether or not they want to take a full 1 or 2 day class from them.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just really outstanding. Really is outstanding. They have food trucks there for lunch.
That's important.
Yes, it is.
That could be interesting.
But
That food truck never gets robbed.
No.
Yeah. But they have a really good group of folks that I'm really proud to consider myself part of, that make the thing happen. It's a whole group of volunteer RSOs, range safety officers. I'm sure most people know what that is. But we just try to keep everybody safe and run around and try to make sure that the logistics get taken care of.
The number of friends we have down there
Yeah.
every year is just fantastic.
Mm.
Jim Anders, Chuck Haggard, Tam Keel,
Mhm.
Brian and Jen were down there again.
Yeah.
Brian's gotten hooked, so he's probably been
Yeah.
there every year.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's exhausting, especially
yeah.
when you're working. But even if you're not working,
All
just as an
conventions are
attendee,
exhausting for me.
it
I'm
is.
super introvert. You wouldn't know it,
Yeah.
but I am.
Yeah.
And I love being around people I love, and that's great. And then I die for 3 days and just go into a coma. Yeah.
Well, it's one of these things that you don't have to worry about necessarily shooting. I know several times people
Worry about
go to
shooting?
these. Well, what I mean is that people sometimes will go to this thing and not bring a gun,
Yeah.
or at least not anything other than what their carry gun is. just because the classrooms have so much value on them.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
see.
know, usually we have Masayub there, for example, and
Oh,
he
wow.
couldn't come this year because he had a court conflict
Yeah.
in his expert testimony stuff. But he's usually there
Folks,
as well.
if you want to take a class from us, and I suggest you do,
Yeah.
Do it
Uh,
soon.
yes,
He's not getting
do it
any
soon.
younger.
the MAG 40 class is, I've long been a proponent that everybody that carries a gun should have the gun sight 250 or the equivalent, and the MAG 40 class.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm
gun
with you,
sight-
RK.
Gun sight will teach you how to shoot, and MAG 40 will teach you when not to, or what to do, and what to do afterwards.
Yeah, most self-defense shootings where people get into trouble, it's not the marksmanship, because the marksmanship problems in most self-defense shootings is fairly rudimentary.
Yeah.
But it's the decision-making that gets people into serious trouble.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that Tom concentrated on back in the day,
Still does.
because he had at one point, I remember we were talking, and just out of the classes he taught in Memphis, 57 of his students had actually had to use a gun.
I believe that's
wow.
up to 68 now.
Memphis has never been a real nice town.
No. And one of the things that's very interesting is he attributes his success to several things. But number one, keeping it fairly simple.
Yeah.
Right. But also mentally enabling people to give themselves permission to be violent in the right circumstances.
Yeah.
Because we're told, especially in today's society,
Yes.
we're told, oh, violence is never an answer. Well, sometimes violence is the only answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you want to be violented upon.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. But,
I've for those of you that read my blog back in the day, one of my more popular posts was about deciding now when you were going to use lethal violence.
Yeah.
Figure out now and not when it happens. And that was one of my more popular.
yeah.
Because if you wait, it's too late.
The post apparently has been quoted
Make a decision.
without attribution in several classes.
Gee, this is a surprise. It's
No,
like
that's-
the gun cake.
No, don't get me
Gun
started.
cake?
Yeah.
Oh, taking away your, yeah.
That is actually one of the things that Tom highly stresses
Yeah.
is attribution. He says, look, none of this stuff is new.
Yeah.
You need to know where it comes from if you're going to be an instructor, especially. And you have to tell people where it came from,
Mhm.
because otherwise you're just it's kind of like plagiarism.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I have been plagiarizing
Credit
so
where
much
credit's
stuff.
due.
So much stuff.
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny? So
Uh-oh.
Gordon read your blog for years, ages. He's like, Law Dog, that's a great blog. Yes. And then we got involved with all these yahoos at LTUE and doing the conferences and the things and stuff. And somehow, I don't know, Jim, I don't know if you ratted him out or what, but
Yeah,
it's like,
it-
oh yeah,
it-
that's Ian. And it's like, wait,
Snitch.
that's Law Dog?
Snitch.
I'm a big fan. And I don't know, Tom, you don't know. My husband is a firearms historian, military historian, history all the time. Gun guy. He's at the gun store right now, selling guns. So, yeah. And so
Merchant of Death.
he's a merchant of death. Yeah. They just
God bless him.
overturned. A judge did something. He put had an opinion or did something, and the 30-round mag ban in Washington State as of yesterday
Mhm.
is on pause.
Oh, good.
So they, on their day off, they all went to the gun store yesterday and were selling 30-round mags
that's
like
right.
hotcakes.
Yeah.
And that's probably what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
So because they had stockpiled them when they
Yeah.
heard it coming. So
One other thing real quick about Tacon that I think is interesting is that it can give you a really good view of the up and coming
Instructors.
good firearms instructors out
Yes.
there. There's 5 of
'Cause
them, I
they're
think,
there
4 or 5 of them
training.
that are actually staff instructors for Tom in the Rangemaster doctrine.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of other people that are they're usually, I wouldn't say just starting instruction, although we get a fair number of those at TACCON. But there's a number of these people that have already honed their crafts. You mentioned Chuck Haggard. You mentioned Chuck Haggard. Another one I really like is Greg Ellifritz.
Yeah.
Gorilla Fritz.
He used to be up in
Oh.
Columbus. He's moved down to Round Rock, I think now.
He's moved to Texas.
Sir Brass
people
said
like that, and-
they nixed the pause, the ban's back in effect. Well, they sold a bunch yesterday. Dag nabbit.
But yeah.
But if you're interested in guns and self-defense, it's all self-defense applications, and it's not for hunting Bambi or things like that. It's which is nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. It's just that
I like
this
venison.
conference actually focuses on the self-defense
Yeah.
stuff.
And that is important. It's You know, that's the one thing that we don't have the documentation on.
Mm.
John Lott has tried for years and has come up with between 500,000 and 2 million defensive gun uses a year.
Even CDC came up with that number.
Yeah.
Even CDC.
Ah,
But
Fox overboard.
the definition
fault.
of
Poor
what
baby.
He's got to stick his ass up there.
No.
Of what a defensive use is. It's not necessarily shooting.
Right.
Sometimes it's mainly just having to pull a pistol
Or even just showing it.
or showing it.
I had to do that once.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
It's like, are you threatening me? It's like, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And, he
And
left.
the other one that's not the other one that is not talked about very much is the fact that somebody has a gun, the way they act is different, and just the way
Yes.
they act
Yeah.
in that sense of competence and confidence can also cause you to be deselected as a victim.
Yes.
But
It's too hard.
the other thing is, if you have to use a gun in any way, shape, form, or fashion, call the police immediately.
Yeah.
Because the first one that calls wins.
Even if you've not shot.
Even if you're not shot, even if you didn't have to shoot.
Yes, but.
There's always a yes, but. So,
Yes, but it's really there's a whole bunch of stuff that's yes, but regarding guns.
Yeah.
And the but is it always depends on where you are.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I had to
a-
factor that in.
yeah. A defensive gun use in New York City, all the rules that apply there don't necessarily apply to Iowa Park, Texas.
Yeah.
Also, for God's sake, I'm not going to get off on a rant. I'm not going to get off on a rant. I swear to God. The internet is not the be all end all of gun information.
yes, very much so.
Absolutely not.
There's one that absolutely I have tried to put a stake through its heart and it absolutely fucking refuses to die. Is you must carry the same ammunition that your
Oh,
local law
for fuck's
enforcement
sake.
agency carries.
What?
No.
That's retarded.
Yeah, if you want to have a good defensive gun use, you must carry the same ammunition that your local law enforcement agency carries.
It's not a bad idea, but it's not a must.
Well, it doesn't even track because I've worked for local law enforcement agencies for 26 years, and
They're going to buy whatever's the cheapest.
they,
You
they
carry
buy,
the same
That's
thing
right.
your
What-
husband carries so you can share ammo.
but
Oh,
you know
and-
it's like
Yeah,
okay,
Gordon chimed in on the 30 round
hey Gordon,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what
Said
you
they
know,
had 3 hours of standard magazine sales and then
Yeah.
every 6 months we change ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you bought the 127 grain Winchester plus P pluses we were carrying in January, come
April, you were.
July we were carrying Hornady FlexLock.
Yeah.
And then we went to HSTs, and then just whatever was cheapest on the.
Yeah.
Within reason, I think what the deal is, certainly after the Miami firefight in '86, the
Yeah.
FBI instituted some really decent, finally, ballistic testing
They did. They also
And-
came to some completely erroneous conclusions too.
in some cases.
Yes.
But in general, though,
It's the
the
Phoebes.
FBI, the stuff that the FBI uses currently is not a bad choice.
Not bad. No.
If you stick with Spear,
Yeah.
with Federal, and with yeah, there goes that creeping senility again.
Yeah.
Hornady, thank you, Hornady.
I was going to say
those
Hornady.
things. Yeah, Hornady, thank you. But those
If you've got
those three brands, their defensive ammo is really
Yeah.
pretty good.
if
right
you got
now.
Spirit Gold Dot or Federal HST or the Hornady Critical Duty
Duty.
or Critical Defense,
Critical duty is a little better generally. Yeah.
you've got good rounds, and
Yeah.
they're all going to end up the same inside the hamburger.
Yeah.
It
It-
just
It just needs to be good and not foul
Yeah.
and not be weird.
And
There-
don't use WD-40 to clean your rounds.
God, no.
no.
What? Is that a thing?
Or to clean your
Yes.
gun.
Yes.
Or to clean your gun. Yes. Yes. That actually was a thing. In Dallas years ago.
Yeah.
There was an incident where 2 officers rolled in hot and died. And when the responding officers got there, both of the officers' rounds, every
Gunned it out.
Are they all gummed up?
yeah, well, no, they weren't gummed up, but every round had a hammer strike.
Yep.
Not a single one of them went off.
Because WD-40 is a penetrating oil, which
So it got into
Yep.
the
and it will
Yeah.
kill a primer and nothing flat.
Yeah.
oh.
It goes into that little bitty press fit.
I was going to say, it
Yeah.
gets through that seam.
It does.
Yeah.
Wow. That is penetrating. oil.
But okay.
Unless you're in New Jersey, which means if you have a hollow point round in New Jersey, you're illegal. Period.
This is 18 felony counts in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And
The
one for
hollows?
one for the magazine, and the rest for the
Well,
ammo
we're both felons right now then.
in New Jersey.
I don't have any spares on me. So just the one in the pipe.
I remember Rita was driving me and Matt Guest to the St. Louis
Oh God.
NRA show. And we got a little confused because
A little.
confused. We wound up in Illinois. I remember sitting there and trying to look at Matt, and he said, I count 46 felonies. It's like, baby, go back. She's going, why? Because there's about 50 felonies in this car. Go back.
Oh, oops. Oh, Gordon says he learned of the evils of WD-40 at an early age.
Oh, yeah. We used to use
He started guns young.
We used to use it to kill primers, W40 kill primers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you,
Just on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Oh, so I just realized.
Don't use stupid rounds also.
Yeah. Don't use stupid rounds.
Yeah, don't use something that's called RIP.
Oh,
What?
God.
Yeah.
What's
And if
that?
it's a new
Oh, new.
It's stupid.
everything round.
The hot
does
fashion.
everything, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it sounds like it will do nothing.
If you carry snub nose, 38s especially.
148 grain rod cutters.
Yeah. 148 grain wad cutters.
Orcs retreat.
There is not a damn thing in the world wrong with a wad cutter.
Georgia Arms makes one that's kind of the top of the heap in defensive wad
Yeah.
cutters right now.
Yeah.
They do a really good job. They were developed under the auspices of several really good instructors / authorities,
Yeah.
if you will.
Chuck Haggard's got he does a good stubby class.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he gets various rounds and fires them in the gel. Also Underwood, their 150 grain black cherry wad cutters, really good.
The one thing that's nice about the Georgia Arms ones is that it's the recoil of it is fairly moderated. The reason for that, if people didn't know, by the way, is that because the snubby barrel length is so short, you generally don't get the amount of velocity that
yeah.
you need to open up a hollow point.
Right.
Oh,
And
it's still
hollow point
wasteful.
expansion is entirely dependent on velocity around.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dependent on velocity and what it's penetrating.
Well,
So, and there used to be, I don't know if it's still the case, for every inch you lose, for every inch adds 100 feet per second. Every
Yeah.
inch off subtracts 100, 150 feet per second.
okay.
So if you're firing out a 2-inch revolver and you're out of a 4-inch, you get 900 feet per second. Out of a 2-inch, you'll get 600 to 700 feet per second.
Some of them, especially, yeah.
So that's not really enough to make even an HST won't open up at that velocity.
Yeah. The other thing is gel is nice, but gel is not realistic.
No, it's not intended to be. It's intended to
Nope.
be just a comparison media.
Exactly. And that's
Oh, the
where
ballistic gel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
everybody goes, oh, well, in gel, I got 14 and a half inches and it opened up.
Okay. That's
You
not.
really want to find out what a round does, go buy a side of pork and shoot that side of pork.
Yeah.
If you really want to get interesting, if you have an old leather jacket or an old jean jacket,
put that over it.
put that over it and shoot the round.
It generally, Chuck, when he's doing the ballistic testing,
Yeah.
puts two to four layers of denim on front of
Okay.
it.
Yep.
Damn, that was good.
We did that years and years ago. And the only round that I remember that opened up was, I want to say, spear.
Mm.
None of the others opened up at all.
Hmm.
And that was one reason to never buy a Remington again.
Bill wants me to come up to Mead Hall, and I really want to get up there.
Hello, Bill.
Yeah, Mead Hall.
I just saw he was down there at Tacon.
Didn't
Good-
you just
good friend of
say
And apparently
somebody-
Chuck Haggard is teaching the pocket rockets in October.
Yeah.
I think he's also helping out with the tactical anatomy that Dr. Williams does in the first weekend in May up there.
Rip.
Where's Meat Hall Range?
Just Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Shawnee,
Just
Oklahoma,
a little north
outside
of us.
Oklahoma.
Little
Everything's
north of
out
us.
here.
Really?
May 4th and 5th, I think. Bo can correct me, but I think it's the first. It's the first weekend in May.
Ian's getting out his calendar.
You see what I'm doing, Meg?
Yeah, you can
Not do anything in May until the end of May.
also use a pig carcass to demonstrate to children what happens if somebody gets shot.
Yeah, it's,
I did
it's
that
not a
with-
good time.
I did that with my daughters when they were 10 and 12, when I taught them how to shoot.
Mhm.
Because I wanted them to know there is real damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just, fun and games, haha.
Heck, we used to do that with blanks.
Yeah.
To show people
Oh, yeah.
that blanks are dangerous. We would set
Well-
up a Coke can and just put a big old hole through it,
Yeah.
just with muzzle flash.
You'd think that John Eric Hexum and the Lee kid,
Yeah,
would
Brandon
have,
Lee.
Brandon Lee would have got that point across. But apparently Hollywood doesn't have real long memories.
No.
Which,
don't know.
There's dumb everywhere.
Sir Brass, I don't know if Paul Harrell is still alive or not.
I don't know. He was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had my differences with Paul, but I wouldn't wish that on what he's going through on anybody.
Yeah, he's not having a good time.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with being a longtime shooter and instructor that is shot indoors, is effectively you get lead poisoning.
Oh,
I will not shoot in an indoor range unless I have to.
Yeah.
We've got one high caliber up here. High caliber or
Yeah.
marksman? High caliber. It's a really nice indoor range. But I've been there once, and I'd go probably once every 6 months if I
Yeah.
had to. Indoor ranges just scare the crap out of me.
Unless they've got a good ventilation system, and it has to be a sucking ventilation system, not a blowing.
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I just indoor ranges.
I'm lucky. I've got 5 acres. I set up
Mhm.
targets in my pasture.
Yeah.
So.
There was the San
You have a
Antonio,
natural berm in the
Yeah.
back, and
San Antonio Police Department had a range in the basement of their PD headquarters.
Yeah.
And I forget what his name was. Their lead instructor he was sitting in his squad car going home at a red light and just started crying and wet his pants.
Yeah.
And they rolled, he called, said something's wrong. They rolled everybody on him. And he had one of the worst cases of lead poisoning.
Yeah.
oh,
And they wrote that up, and this was late 90s. They wrote it, I think late 90s, wrote
Yeah.
it up and sent it out to everybody. And my sheriff made us read that. And they went in and what's called chelation.
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 Yeah.
Chelation.
Yeah, you get,
I've read it. I've never heard it.
pulls all the heavy metals out of your
Yeah,
system.
and it's
and you have to
not
be careful how you
fun.
do it. Yeah,
Not fun, apparently.
if you do it too hard and fast, you can shock your system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Not fun.
That's generally what the lead off soap does. Is it chelates the lead
Yeah.
off your hand,
Oh,
off your hands and fingers.
Is that
and
why
stuff.
it's different from just
Mhm.
regular soap and
Yeah.
water? Okay.
Yeah.
The good range ventilation systems both blow and suck.
Yeah.
By that I mean you blow into behind
the
uprange from the firing points, blows through the firing points and gets
Yeah.
sucked out the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And usually it's HEPA filters and stuff
Yeah.
at the bottom. That's one of the bigger operational expenses, I think, for a lot of ranges is
Yeah.
those filters.
that
Yeah,
and
the-
a heavy duty vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
But, too.
Well, everybody's seen the
Oh, for
video.
Getting the deck.
The video of this qualification going along quite nicely, and then one round triggers the unburned powder
Yeah.
from the firing line,
Oh, yeah.
and it's an overhead. It's
Whoosh.
overhead surveillance cameras
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah.
That was
That
Yeah.
was interesting.
Picturesque.
that was rodeo for a second.
Yeah, it really was. That's we sweep up the range and about once a month, I think they go in and vacuum what we don't get by sweeping. It's amazing how much powder is left unburned on
Oh,
the
yeah.
floor.
Uh-huh.
Vacuum
Really is.
cleaners.
Oh, yeah.
Very inefficient sometimes.
I had a friend who dropped a box of 22s into that deep 70s avocado green shag carpet. They went through a lot of vacuum cleaners in subsequent years because every once in a while they pick
Clunk.
one up, boom, pow, blow up the vacuum cleaner.
Try,
So don't do that.
No.
try dropping primers and trying to
Oh,
vacuum one up. That was even stupider.
Well, and then there's the don't ask me how I know this, but then there's the proclivity of some children to take apart shotgun shells and use a 10-penny nail to punch the primers out of the shells, and then use a hammer to set them off.
That's a lot of work to get a pop.
We didn't have internet or cell phones.
This is
back
true.
then.
Yeah, my brother used to make little tiny pipe bombs.
If
too,
you
so
take a 410
bolts
or
and
maybe a
nuts.
12 gauge if you're feeling your oats, and you take a 1-inch ball bearing and you tape it to the bottom where the primer is, and then you throw it up in the air, the weight of the ball bearing will drag the ball bearing down, and when it hits, it'll pop the primer. Or so,
Supposedly, so you've been told.
as I've been told, as a creative articulation.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah.
Don't.
And what you do not want to be is a firefighter in a fire with live rounds
Oh,
Or in a reloader's place.
or in a reloader's place. Yeah.
oh, here comes the choo-choo.
Well, yeah, allegedly, if you throw that up, and because there's no barrel, the rounds aren't that dangerous.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing.
You put your eye out, kid.
Yeah, you get rounds cooking off in a fire.
Oh,
So I'm sorry, Jim, you were about to say something else.
So I ended up in a bathtub
Ah,
because it was the only metal object I could get to in a hurry.
Hmm.
Because the bathroom I was trying to put the ceiling out in was right next to the closet where we found out later 600 rounds were stored.
and something was cooking them off.
Oh, yeah. It was fully involved.
Don't play with primers,
Oh,
kids.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's some days it just did not pay to be a volunteer fireman.
mm.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. So yeah, you were
So
firefighting.
what I was going to say was
metal
that
bathtub was
it's
smart.
weird in that I never would have thought that an empty case bouncing off a wall and hitting a tray of cartridges would have set a primer
Oh.
off.
Primers are weird.
They are very strange, and I'm not
Primers are
sure if they've gotten
they're-
softer recently or what. But
Not according to my revolvers.
we
they
had
haven't
it.
gotten
We had
softer.
it. I know we had it happen a couple of times within just a few months, and so we just tell people, look, just when you load your ammo and then just put it back in the box and cover it.
Yep.
You know, but weird.
It's weird what'll set off.
Yeah.
Well,
And
part of that too is the heat. The heat off the spent casing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not going to transfer a lot of heat. If this actually just hit it and bounced off, kind of thing, and went, you know.
Yeah, well,
But-
it's you get Remington was notorious for either soft primers or hard primers.
Hmm.
Federal was the choice for really hard primers.
Yeah. Federal was harder than a friggin' rock.
Yeah.
Woodpecker lips.
Yeah. You sometimes have to cycle those suckers 3 times through.
And then
Well,
the edges of
revolver.
those shell casings are sharp too. I've got a scar right
Yeah.
up in here from my next door, the guy next to me in a scene we were shooting at a helicopter and with AKs, bam, right in my face.
Ow.
Yeah, it's like, what am I?
Why am I bleeding? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why.
I was the sad terrorist.
Oh, you want
Sad terrorist stories.
to get talking about
I
sad
could-
terrorists.
I could tell a sad
Yeah.
terror story.
Get Tom Rogg to be talking about simunitions
Oh,
when he was the
There-
bad guy.
yeah, it can be interesting.
I remember
'Cause
hauling ass to the
They don't work
warehouse
right.
as we were doing force on force, and we had pink rounds. The other side had blue rounds, and I was trying to flank the bad guys, and ran across an open area, and right behind me was a table on end, a white table. I remember this because when
he
I
get
got
pink?
done, I went back and looked, and there was many blue rounds as were pink rounds on that.
Hey, little friendly fire.
Little bastards.
Look, it's a shooting gallery.
Every one of them took a shot at me.
Well, yeah. I made the mistake once in South Carolina volunteering to help out with sled on a training session. And I was playing a drunk with a pistol. And I had told the lead instructor, I said, if I can sweep them the 4th time, I'm going to pull the trigger. And he goes, fine, do it. And I went, yeah,
Back and forth.
bang, 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 bang. And every one of those son of a bitches unloaded on me.
Open season
And
on
he's
drunks.
going, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. And I'm going, damn. They hit me with 30 some odd rounds from 4 to 6 feet away.
Just call me Clyde Barrow.
Yeah. And I mean, and I had on a sweatshirt
And no vest.
and no vest. I had face
Oh,
protector.
Okay. Did you have bruises the next
Oh God,
day?
did I have bruises?
Yeah, I got one of those one time. I had a vest and
Yeah.
it was doing a stunt and I had to die. And the guy was like 10 feet away behind the camera.
Yeah.
And he walked those rounds right off the vest into my shoulder. And I went down. I was like, "Ooh, okay, cut. Ow!
Yeah.
All right, Scooter, we're gonna have words.
I had a bruise this big. It was tiny little people.
Yeah. Well, these weren't paintball; these were simulations.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a paintball.
Now, if you really
Full of
want to
Fuller's
screw
Earth.
with a paintball, you freeze them before you put them in. The
Oh, you're not nice.
Or you have somebody used to work for Tipman on your squad that
gun.
adjusts the PSI.
Yeah.
Oh,
More muzzle velocity.
Oh,
rates.
oh, yeah.
poop.
It's like if they call you for velocity check, turn the screw.
Yeah.
425 feet. Whoa. Okay.
Simulations, I think, are down around 150 to 200 feet per second.
Don't give me the line. I know they hurt.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I
It's
know they
fast
hurt.
enough to
They
make a
hurt,
bruise.
Yeah.
UTM, I think, runs a little faster.
Yeah.
Simulations and UTM are two different training rounds, and they're actually, I don't know, primer fired, but they actually, there's something, it's not air. There's a gas expansion that fires them. And the UTM always left a bigger bruise on me than simulations did. Tom's verifying.
I am in a minute. I got this squirrel. For a second.
Oh no, another squirrel distraction.
Glow stick. Fuck. Ah! Sponge Jim Square bruise. What the hell?
Oh, from him getting drilled by all those guys. It's a good thing they didn't have full auto.
Old paintball. Okay. Oh, where were we?
You were about right. 110 to 150.
Guns, muzzle
Oh, that's meters
velocity.
per second. 360 to 490
Simulations.
feet per second.
Okay.
Bruise.
Yeah. Bruises, yeah.
490 will light you up.
And a muzzle energy of 3.5 meters.
No wonder that hurt. See, when I was the target for simulations, I very carefully did
Sorry.
not check.
At 3.5 meters, it's 3 to 6 joules.
Yeah.
Is what the muzzle energy is.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I'm very
leaves a
careful.
bruise.
I very carefully did not ask what the muzzle velocity was because it's gonna hurt either way.
Oh, wow. The 5.56 simulations are 623 feet per second.
Yeah. You. I had me some words with somebody one time. The armor handed the lead guy. I was the bad guy in a trailer. Yeah, I didn't realize I handed the lead guy the M4. And when I jumped out the axe, he stitched me from. And my training was done.
Yeah.
Great thing about simulations, though, is it really it really drives home failure drills.
Yeah.
Simulations are not. You will learn and practice failure drills so they come out your ears with simulations, except that one fucking M4.
Yeah.
Oh,
That-
Raptor says he ran right into full auto paintball
Yeah.
from 5 feet, charging a bunker. Oops.
That got your attention, didn't
Bet
it?
his
Raptor?
washing machine really loved that. Yeah.
FN 303, it's not 3030, it's a 303. FN 303 is a nasty little piece of work that the Belgians devised because when it comes to war crimes, go with the Belgians every time.
Yeah.
And it's a spin stabilized paintball round. It's a dome with fins.
Yeah.
And the leading edge of the dome is full of powdered bismuth.
Mhm.
And then the ass end has got paint in it
Yeah.
to mark your target.
Yeah.
And when that powdered bismuth, which is almost as dense and heavy as lead,
Oof.
comes in at 400 feet per second, it will get your attention. And then there's a little bit of paint.
But then you don't feel queasy afterwards because it's full of bismuth.
Yes, you do.
Raptor says, technically modern production Winchester 94s are FN 3030s. Yeah, that used to be true. They used to be made in Columbia, South Carolina. Before the 4FM
Oh,
outsourced.
Bad puns. Bad
oh,
puns.
we had a
Bad puns.
Yeah, it differs. Figures the Air Force would do laser tag.
oh, that stuff's fun. I got to play with that one time. We were at Camp Roberts or something back when I was doing World War II reenacting.
But it doesn't even shock you.
No, it doesn't. It was, yeah, they had the Miles gear, and they also had this cool simulator where you had to reload even if you used the same magazine, but it was like a rear screen projection. I can't remember what it was
Oh.
called. And they
Yeah.
would have a scenario would start, and you and your team had to take out the correct, not the non-combatants. You had to take out the op 4 and the thing, and then you would get a score at the end. And I don't know how the system worked, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Miles gear sucked.
Yeah, Miles gear
Miles
was
gear was
interesting.
Bill says the Belgians make the Canadians look like amateurs in the war crimes department.
That's because they.
Yeah.
If you get a war crime, go with the Belgians every time.
Yeah.
Canadians.
Stanleyville, 1964?
Yeah. Canadians, they're nasty, but there's some logic behind the Canadian war crimes.
Canadians are just flat ass sneaky.
The two main Canadian war crimes that weren't war crimes till Canada got involved was there's actually a addendum to one of the treaties that says you cannot lure enemy forces in with food and then grenade them.
Yeah.
Canadians.
Yeah.
Germans were starving. Canadians laid out food. Germans came to get the food, and came the grenades.
Yeah.
Now you can't do that.
That's not a war crime the first time, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
The second time, which was a war crime, the Canadians knew it and didn't care, was they took a whole bunch of Germans prisoner of war, and they didn't have the staff or facilities, so they just executed them all.
Yeah.
Oh joy! So
And
much
that
for the
was
so
a
much
war
for
crime.
the kind, sweet, polite Canadian stereotype.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The first one, that's on the Geneva Convention. They should have figured for Canadians. They changed it. Second one, that definitely a war crime.
Yeah, that was hunting over bait.
Yeah.
Literally.
Hunting over bread, apparently. Oh, you're
Jesse
starving.
said,
Here's bread.
dinner with pineapple upside down krauts, yeah.
There's a lot to unpack. in
Welcome
that.
to welcome to the dark humor hour. Yeah.
Well, you got to admit, none of us are right, you know.
We knew when we signed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, but if
That's this
you
tribe.
Yeah. Jimmy Doohan was a Canadian. Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
apparently the craziest pilot in the Canadian Air Force,
Oh yeah.
which
Yeah.
is saying something because most Canadian pilots are bug nuts, but
Yeah. Oh, yes. Having ridden with a few Canadians in P3s, yes.
chopped German tartar.
Oh. Ouch.
Yep, we're taking black humor and driving it right off into the gutter.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
I
there a
will-
lower level? We'll find it.
I will have to admit, we did on that flight prove that U.S. Air Force pilots will run out of the cockpit.
That seems
What?
suboptimal.
When you're at 70 feet, ish, supposed to be at
70 feet.
200 and a 70-degree angle of bank. And
Tom's eyes just got real big.
That sounds a little hairy.
one of the pilots is going in, what's the wingspan? 99 feet,
Woo.
gone. And I'm looking around as they go running by me, and I'm got on ICS. I'm like, the hell was that? And I hear this chuckle. I think they're worried about where we are.
See, okay, why? Why is it going to be less traumatic in the back than in the cockpit?
Well,
Is
I
there
wouldn't
any-
want to be in the nose of something digging into the dirt.
At that speed, doesn't matter. It's all going to be nose.
Yeah.
sooner
You're
or
going to end
later.
up in the front at the when
Yeah.
it comes to a stop. Anyway.
You're going to. Everybody's going to be packed in a little hole in the ground.
Air Force pilots, you know, very smooth takeoff, it's rate of climb, you know, and they're not happy until they're at 10,000 feet. Now, we were down chasing a polar bear
Why?
because it kept trying to swipe at us. Thought we were a bird.
Well, yeah, that sounds like a polar bear.
And we were trying to find something. So we were looking for plenty is in the ice cap.
Yeah, everybody's got an excuse. Everybody's
Yeah.
got an excuse.
Have you seen footage of Bengal or Siberian tigers going after choppers? Like,
Yeah.
here, let's film the charming wildlife. And that thing climbs a tree and comes right up towards the skids.
Yeah.
And like, oh, no.
I my father actually got a couple of park rangers very, very drunk one time. After the park rangers had this wonderful idea that they were going to count wildlife from one of those newfangled helicopters. West Africa in the 70s, newfangled helicopter,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Great new toy.
And a leopard ran up a palm tree and hooked the
He got it.
skid and was climbing up into the climbing up in the cockpit when one of the rangers kicked him out. And then they landed, drove to the house. Dad started pulling gin and tonics.
Kitty cats can climb and jump.
Kitty!
No.
That's kind of like the video of the tiger in India coming up into the couple or leaping up towards it.
Yeah.
You know, which is why they had howdahs. But
Yeah.
still, they're just like terrifying.
That's why you have howdah gun.
How'd it go?
The look on that tiger's face when it was for real is like, Jesus. You know?
Don't mess with Kitty.
People McNuggets!
Yeah.
Yes. They deliver.
How'd guns are actually a thing.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
How'd
Yeah.
guns.
Yeah, they are a specific
Yeah.
thing.
Howdahs were the little thing on the back of elephants that you got to ride around with when you were playing Maharaja.
Yes. Your
And
little,
they
your
had-
little covered cab.
And you had a scabbard and a howdah gun, which was either a really short sawed-off double barrel or a great huge 5-shot revolver.
Yep.
And that was to basically scrape the tiger off your elephant.
Yeah, the equivalent of a Walker Colt.
I've seen some that almost look like a blunderbuss.
Yeah.
They're real
Yep. You just scrape the tiger off your elephant.
yes. Elephant no like Kitty.
No. And the thing is when the elephant starts doing the Tasmanian two-step on the kitty, you're on the back.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And you're hanging on for dear life.
So shoot first, ask questions later,
Get the tiger off your elephant.
before he becomes one with you. As in an appetizer.
Nancy's puppeting.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
I didn't even notice.
I had to animate the fox because he's a kitty. No, he's not a kitty. He's a fox.
But no, my father hated leopards with a passion. Probably as bad as I hate monkeys. Because whenever a safari client they wouldn't miss or screw up shooting the lions. It was all the leopards.
Yeah.
Mm.
Leopards are smart. They're a lot smarter than lions. Lions are stupid. Leopards are smart, and you don't leave a wounded leopard because if you do, the wounded leopard will turn into a man-eater.
Oh, he just
Yeah.
hates everybody now.
Well, he can't. When you can't catch kudu or gazelle anymore, you catch those nice, soft, squishy people McNuggets.
Yeah.
Because you're wounded, you can't go after gazelle.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
People
Yeah.
McNuggets are a great.
Yeah. He's going to go for the
Yeah.
easy thing because
Yeah.
he can't
Yeah.
get the
So
others.
if you had a client wound a leopard, you call in all hands, my dad, and you go get the leopard. And Dad hated leopards because there was one. My mom scraped off a dad. He had gone into a hole under a baobab tree and left the blood, and then apparently had snuck out around. And so Dad was looking off in this hole when it came around the side. And Dad had this. Somebody in Johannesburg had rebarreled a M1 Garand to 338-06.
Yeah.
33 caliber rounds are fairly easy to find, so they just opened up the 30-06 to 338 and
Mhm.
and you always tell. The story was you always tell when Dad had found a leopard because you heard bang 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 ping.
Oh, the clip bouncing out at the end.
Because Dad didn't shoot him once.
That's a sound.
Yeah, Dad.
Then hand it over.
Sign.
You've already signed it.
No, go ahead and sign it again.
And on that note,
Contract.
folks, we've wasted another hour of your
Somebody
time.
let her sign her contract on screen.
Yeah, she gets-
Oh,
So quick,
oh,
let's do
apparently
this.
I'm going to do my contract now.
Hand it over to her. That's her copy.
Little fox is taking a break. All right. I'm official.
That'll be our
I take my
copy.
glasses off so I can see.
No, just sign it. It's okay, really.
Don't need to read it.
Don't read the fine print.
No fine print for you. Okay, then hand the pen back to him so we can sign our copy.
You get that.
And then we'll go
Sign this.
celebrate with some barbecue
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
sounds
because
good.
it's time for lunch.
And
That.
Take that one.
Now we'll take this one.
Contact.
Hey, I've got this opportunity to do it in person
Yeah.
instead of by PDF. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, there you go.
My crappy signature.
And that's your copy, dear.
that's yours.
Oh, take that home.
Mine.
She is now a published author.
Yes.
Welcome to the
Yay.
team.
Well, I did a couple of the 50-word shorts, which was fun. And you know what? I think I'm so grateful that you guys did that because it got me off my butt and back into writing.
Yeah.
And it was basically writing boot camp
What are you looking at me for?
because you're next. Yeah,
You
it got
can
me
write.
into writing. It was because it forced me. You had 50 words and you had to have a complete story arc in 50 words.
Yep.
So it was all about paring down and just getting the meat on there.
Yeah.
And I don't have any problem writing lots of words. The story that you guys just accepted, the first time I finished it, it was almost 12,000 words.
Yeah.
And it was way too much.
Good story.
Too
It's
much
always better
backstory.
to write long than short.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I took those chunks out and I saved them
Yeah.
in a bucket.
Good.
And maybe I turn this into a novella someday or whatever. And so, but I've got those chunks. A lot of backstory that nobody needed in a short
Yeah.
story. So yeah. So what? Somebody say something good.
Tom has been reading my stuff and cussing my punctuation for years. And I certainly
That's how we
appreciate it.
met.
Yeah.
So somebody explained to me why I always send Jim to be, I send stuff to Jim so he can be my alpha reader and you fix my punctuation. So how come you can't fix your own
Because
punctuation?
he writes too quickly.
Yeah, you don't, your brain sees what it needs to
Yeah.
see and you know what,
Yeah.
you know what you meant to say.
That's why I have a lot of difficulty in editing my own stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, because you see what you saw the first time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I see what's in my head. That's what's
Yeah.
on paper.
Yeah.
And
And
then
even when I reread it,
Yeah.
I see what I wanted to
Rita will
say.
come back behind me and say, "Did you mean to put the 3 times in that sentence?"
Yeah.
Shit.
No.
Damn it.
All right, folks.
Let's
We've
go get
wasted
chow.
another hour of your time and we're all hungry. So
Bye. Little Mr.
Adios.
Fox says goodbye.
remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff. We'll see you Thursday. Bye-bye. Some of us will.
Oh.
Some of the
thanks,
Yahoo
folks.